HarperCollins presents The Way We Eat Now, Strategies for Eating in a World of Change by B. Wilson. Read by B. Wilson. For Leo. Ever the eaters and drinkers, ever the upward and downward sun, ever the air and the ceaseless tides. Walt Whitman, Song of Myself. Introduction. The Gatherers and the Hunted. Pick a bunch of green grapes, wash it and put one in your mouth. Feel the grape with your tongue, observe how cold and refreshing it is, the crisp flesh and the jelly-like interior with its mild, sweet flavour. Eating grapes can feel like an old pleasure, untouched by change. The ancient Greeks and Romans loved to eat grapes, as well as to drink them in the form of wine. The Odyssey speaks of a ripe and luscious vine, hung thick with grapes. As you pull the next delicious grape from its stalk, you could easily be plucking it from a Dutch still life of the 17th century, where grapes are tumbled on a metal platter with oysters and half-peeled lemons. But look closer at this bunch of green grapes, cold from the fridge, and you see that they are not unchanged after all. Like so many other foods, grapes have become a piece of engineering designed to please modern eaters. First of all, there are almost certainly no grape seeds for you to either chew or spit out, unless you are in certain places such as Spain or China, where seeded grapes are still part of the culture. Strains of seedless grapes have been cultivated for centuries, but it is only in the past 2 decades that seedless has become the norm, to spare us the dreadful inconvenience of pips. Here's another strange new thing about grapes. The mainstream ones in the supermarket, such as Thompson Seedless and Crimson Flame, are always sweet. Not bitter, not acidic, not foxy like a Concord grape, not excitingly aromatic like one of the Muscat varieties of Italy, but just plain sweet, like sugar. On biting into a grape, the ancients did not know if it would be ripe or sour. The same was true, in my experience, as late as the 1990s. It was like grape roulette. A truly sweet one was rare and therefore special. These days, the sweetness of grapes is a sure bet, because in common with other modern fruits, such as red grapefruit and pink lady apples, our grapes have been carefully bred and ripened to appeal to consumers reared on sugary foods. Fruit bred for sweetness does not necessarily have to be less nutritious, but modern debittered fruits tend to contain fewer of the phytonutrients which give fruits and vegetables many of their protective health benefits. Most of the phytonutrients in green grapes were in the seeds. A modern red or purple seedless grape will still be rich in phenolics, nutrients that reduce the risk of certain cancers, from the pigments in its skin. But green seedless grapes contain few of these phytonutrients at all. Such fruit still gives us energy, but not necessarily the health benefits we would expect. The very fact that you are nibbling seedless grapes so casually is also new. I am old enough to remember a time when grapes, unless you were living in a grape-producing country, were a special and expensive treat. But now millions of people on average incomes can afford to behave like the reclining Roman emperor of TV cliché, popping grapes into our mouths one by one. Globally, we both produce and consume twice as many grapes as we did in the year 2000. Grapes are an edible sign of rising prosperity because fruit is one of the first little extras that people spend money on when they start to have disposable income. The year-round availability of grapes also speaks to huge changes in global agriculture. 50 years ago, table grapes were a seasonal fruit grown in just a few countries and only eaten at certain times of year. Today they are cultivated globally and never out of season. Almost everything about grapes has changed, and fast. And yet grapes are the least of our worries when it comes to food, just one tiny element in a much larger series of kaleidoscopic transformations in how and what we eat that have happened in recent years. These changes are written on the land, on our bodies, and on our plates, insofar as we even eat off plates anymore. For most people across the world, life is getting better, but diets
Sample complete. Ready to continue?